So what we have until a few years ago, what we had was basically one mechanism of action being VEGF-TKI inhibitors, one being PD-1, PD-L1 inhibitors, and now we're waiting for a new class of drug. So you stress HIF inhibitors. And one of them that is currently being clearly investigated is Belzutifan. We've seen data from phase 1/2 with single agent Belzutifan being active in patients who previously failed standard of care. We've seen Belzutifan data in patients with VHL disease. That is another story that is FDA approved. But the question is single agent already approved in this setting? The response is for all comers clear cell RCC. We are waiting from an important randomized phase 3 that is comparing Belzutifan with everolimus in patients who previously failed standards of care, meaning pretreated patients. We are still waiting for the results of this 005 study. So as of now, we don't yet have access to Belzutifan in previously treated patients. What we've seen is combination therapy, or standard of care, with a PD-1 inhibitor in frontline setting. What we are looking for is what should we do in patients who fail prior immune checkpoint inhibitor? And so there is a need to develop new combination, or at least to explore new combination. So KEYMAKER-U03B is a randomized phase 1/2 multi-center, multi-arm, open label umbrella study. It has been built to investigate several types of combination in patients treated for clear cell RCC who had failed immune checkpoint-based regimen in the past. And so there are several arms in this study, and it's a very large phase 1. The idea is to explore safety and efficacy of combination therapy in patients who had previously progressed under PD-1, PD-L1 inhibitor, as well as VEGF-TKI, so clearly pretreated patients. And this study aimed to enroll about 50 patients, 50 patients per arm, with a reference arm that is Lenvatinib plus pembrolizumab. So among these different arms that are being explored as part of the umbrella 03B study, what has been reported, and that's new data, is the combination of Lenvatinib plus Belzutifan. Therefore, the combination of a potent VEGF-TKI, Lenvatinib, plus the HIF-2 alpha inhibitor Belzutifan. And so that is new because this is the first time we are reporting on this activity of this regimen. As the time of the data presentation, about 150 patients had been enrolled in this randomized phase 1/2. With regard to arm B5, which is the one reported, Belzutifan plus Lenvatinib, 32 patients has been assigned and 30 treated. So basically what we are reporting are those 30 patients treated with Belzutifan plus Lenvatinib. This is, of course, early report because we had, for now, a median time from randomization to the database cutoff of 6.9 months. So these are very early data. About 12 patients were enrolled in the safety run-in phase, and then the expansion allowed to those 30 treated patients. What we are reporting on are those patients who were treated with the Lenvatinib plus Belzutifan. So what we can say is that these patients were pretreated, per definition in this trial, and heavily pretreated. Basically, about 20% were in second line, about 50% in third line, and we have about 34% of patients that were actually even treated at a later, in later lines. So clearly heavy pretreated patients, all of which received prior ICI. The response rate, which after safety is the endpoint that we will be focusing on, was assessed in all the patients who had the opportunity to have 2 post-baseline scans, meaning that given the follow-up, we only have 24 patients that received 2 post-baseline CT scans. What is really key finding in the study is the response rate of 50%, 50, meaning 1 patient out of 2 having an objective response. This is very important data to me because we stress the fact that those patients were previously treated, and therefore having a response rate of 50% is absolutely encouraging, and we would like to have more data to further develop this approach. It's too early to see complete response, so all those responses were partial response, and we had very limited number of upfront PD. Only 1 patient out of the 24 had upfront PD. So it's also too early to see the median duration of response, but at the time of the analysis, 3 patients out of 4 were still responding with the follow-up that we had. So it's clearly a very strong signal of activity. And this regimen is currently being assessed in a randomized phase 3 against cabozantinib. So this combination is prospectively assessed in phase 3 at the time we speak. Among the other key findings is, of course, the question of safety. So as anticipated, what we see is the safety of the combination, meaning a potent VEGF-TKI with high blood pressure and diarrhea, combined with our HIF-2 inhibitor, Belzutifan, and that is associated mostly with anemia. So I would say that high blood pressure and anemia are the 2 toxicities that were anticipated and that are confirmed in this combination trial, with no new safety signal found, meaning that we do see the toxicity we had with single agent with each one of those 2 drugs. I think what is important to the community is our ability to bring new class of drug to our patients. And that means assessing the activity in all comers, but maybe ultimately be able to identify, pick the winners, meaning developing translational work to assess who in our patients are more likely to respond to a Belzutifan, for instance. I would be tempted to say, to answer your question, that we need to develop the biomarker piece, and we need to assess this regimen earlier on in the disease. So I also mentioned the fact that, for instance, in the frontline setting, there is currently an ongoing phase 3, the O12 study, looking at the combination of standard of care Lenvatinib plus pembrolizumab versus the same regimen plus Belzutifan, meaning we add the HIF inhibitor, or a regimen where a CTLA-4 inhibitor is added. And I think we are aiming at really making a change with this triplet strategy. We have to have in mind that the safety may be an issue. We have to be able to select the patients that are eligible for triplets, and those triplets approach needs to provide a significant change in the outcome for our patient, either in response rate, CR rate, and long-term overall survival benefit. That should be our goal.